Good morning. I feel like Johnny Cash in all this black. Don't ask me to sing. God bless you. And now I'm looking at all these chairs, and some of you may not be old enough to remember who Phil Donahue was. Yeah, I'm waiting for the guests to show up sometime today. When I'm up here, nobody shows. But I got to tell you, my cousin called me from Ireland last week. And he tells me, he says, you know, we were playing poker. And the boys, you know, and oh, Sean O'Flanagan. Do you remember Sean? I said, I do. He says, Sean O'Flanagan decides he's going to spend all his money on one hand, 500 euro. I said, oh, God bless him. So he stands up, puts all his money in. Everybody's excited. He turns his card over. He loses the game. He stands up and falls flat dead. Boom. Now, me and the boys is trying to figure out how we're going to tell the missus. This is not a very fun place. So he goes home. They finally decide. He says, I went over and he said, knocked on the door. And he said, Mara, he says, I got some bad news. Sean lost 500 euro at the poker tonight. She says, he did. He says, aye, he did. She says, well, then go tell him to drop dead. Anyway, for those of you who haven't been here before, welcome. First of all, I want to say thank you to our host, Hexagon Mining, for having us today. Please give them a big round of applause. And we got a really good full agenda, so we may run a little bit over, but I know most of you are going to go home after work anyway, after this lunch anyway today, right? I know I am. But anyway, we got a great program for you today, but I want to kick this off a little bit differently. Save your date, September 20th. The Southern Arizona Business Coalition and Bill Ossenmacher and I started this 7 years ago, and we began to having events every year. Our last event, for how many went to the Women in Mining event we had a couple years ago? Yeah, well, we had almost 500 people fill the room up over at the Doubletree. This year we're having a special event. It's called the Miracles of Mining. And we all keep talking to ourselves about this industry and the importance of how important this industry. We all know what's going on. But the general public has no idea. As a matter of fact, I'm going to San Diego next weekend. And going to meet up with some guys. We served on the USS Kitty Hawk in 1973, 72-73, working on F-4s on the flight deck with the carrier. We were changing out boxes, wiring harnesses, doing everything you do on the plane. And not once did we ever say, where did this come from? The only thing we said is, where's the stuff? We need to get this bird up and flying here soon. So the point is the general public doesn't realize or doesn't care or doesn't pay attention to where all these things that come from. So we're going to educate them. So we're going to look for this fall is to begin a major marketing campaign called the Miracles of Mining. And on September 20th, we're waiting to secure a location. But our two friends from the University of Arizona Lowell Institute of Mining, Chad, Cole, stand up, gentlemen. These gentlemen, I want to say, Rosa, what's the lady's name? Gabrielle? And Gabrielle, these three students are going to put the program on for us. And they're going to teach us about the history of mining in Southern Arizona, the Arizona Law School of Mining. Go ahead and sit down, guys. And they are going to be our showcase. And we always talk about the miracles of mining, the cell phones and everything else. But you know where the real miracle is? It's between our ears. And it's the willingness to extend beyond what we think is comfortable and learning to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And this is where the great successes of our society have come. And I look around the room and all the engineering people. My job is not to tell you how to mine. My job is to brag about how good you are at what you do. And so I want to say thank you for my opportunity to be part of this showcase and for us to be able to move forward. So we're looking to raise a significant amount of money. We're going to have a big event. I want to sell out 500 plus for the special event. And then we want to run television and radio commercials. And we're going to start right here in Southern Arizona. This is where the people need a real education on the miracles of our industry. And then we're going to expand it over to Cochise more, Santa Cruz a little bit more, up to Greeley and Graham, and then into Phoenix. It's a big campaign. But when people start to realize what you do for our society, we can't live without the miracles of mining. We have t-shirts out there, they're 10 bucks a piece. If you decide you want one, all the funds we're raising from those t-shirts go to help support this campaign. But more important, what our goal is to talk about the end results of what produces. How many are here anybody here have a pacemaker? You wouldn't have that without the mining industry. And I'm very serious. Tom Aldridge and I wouldn't have artificial knees. Now, they can't do anything for my brain, but that's okay. That's short-circuited. So we got a full agenda, and before I fall off the stage, Tracy, you want to come up? Tracy is De La Hoop. Did I say that right? I'll let her tell you how to pronounce her last name.
Thanks,
Thank
Rick.
you.
My name is Tracy DeHoop. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Hexagon Mining. Welcome, Arizona Mining Alliance. We're so excited that you're here in our Tucson headquarters. It's our global headquarters. We moved in last fall, and we're still getting settled in. I don't think we've had a group this big for lunch, so we're sort of testing everything out. So great to see all of the mining industry faces here. We are a technology company that provides software and hardware for the mining industry. Mines are our customers, and we have solutions that span life of mine. And I would like to invite you afterwards. We're going to have our experience center here open. If you'd like to walk through and see some of our latest technology, we would love to show you around. So thank you.
Okay, Mr. Bill, come on down. You know, one of the things over the years Bill and I have both been very supportive of is the military and first responders. So this year, Southern Arizona Business Coalition is adopting two important events. And one of them is we're going to talk about today. And Bill, I'll leave it to you.
Thank you, Rick, and I appreciate you doing that commercial. It's wonderful. We have an event coming up. As Miracles in Mining, we want to construct and build a park. And in that park, almost everything other than a few of the trees and plants are going to be extracted from the earth. And it's going to have wonderful monuments both to the veterans, the military, and all the first responders. So I'd like to bring up General Shootman to help you help address this program. This is in Oro Valley. The community is donating some land. And I'll tell you a little bit about General Shootman if nobody knows who he is. He obviously was a fighter pilot in the Air Force. He also served as an airline pilot. Nice enough to come back and work at the Air National Guard. Was the commander at the 162nd many years ago when I was there. He also, one of the jobs I recommended him for was to head up Southern Arizona Leadership Council. And from a small startup organization, he grew that to be a wonderful organization that truly represents the needs of Southern Arizona. He now is in a somewhat retirement mode in that he is not running Southern Arizona Leadership Council, but one of his underlings, General Ted Maxwell, is running that. General Shootman still consults. But what's more important, as a man who's been in public service his entire life, he's now considered the guy helping run our university. So he is the chair of the Board of Regents, and I don't know how he finds the time, but he has volunteered to support this vision of building a memorial up in Oro Valley, and I'll let him tell you a little bit about it. But General Shootman and his wife and other like-minded community leaders have been working on this for 4 years. And I've been heavily involved also because there's a lot of large metal artwork. As a matter of fact, there's a big metal monolith that will be the main feature of the event. So General Shootman, take it over.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you for the kind words. Not necessary. I do what I can, like most of us. I'll tell you, a real hero of this community is this man standing behind me. We wouldn't be here today probably without him. He's a fearless leader and dedicated to this community. So my wife, who is of 47 years, I do what I'm told. She came home one day and said, you know, I've just learned about a project in southern Arizona that I'm excited about. It's called the Veterans and First Responders Living Memorial. And I thought, wow, that's unique. It's different. A living memorial and one that combines veterans and first responders. And it didn't take me very long to really go back in my mind to 9/11. On 9/11, I happened to be the only airplane airborne over the United States in my F-16, headed back to Tucson when we were going to put airplanes on alert. And as I had watched the towers fall, like all of you, we all know where we were when that happened, unless you're young, like all the students at the universities who think it's a historical fact instead of a personal issue like it is to all of us. It dawned on me that we had had all of our forces arrayed to protect people from attacking us from outside our country. We really had not thought about what it would take to protect inside of our country. So this attack came from within, that people with absolutely no care for human life attacked this country in a way that we'd never seen before. And as I watched the video and saw the first responders and saw what they were going through, the bravery, the dedication, the same things I saw in the airmen that I had the honor of commanding at the wing, they would walk into fire if need be, and just like our first responders do. Different uniforms, same sort of commitment to protecting the people of our country. So Southern Arizona is a great place for first responders and military. We've got 400,000 veterans and first responders, and they deserve some recognition in a new way. So I want to show you a film, and then I'll make a couple comments afterwards. But please just spend a couple minutes looking at this unique project. Thank you.
We have an opportunity in southern Arizona to create a beautiful, one-of-a-kind memorial. One that recognizes our heroes, educates our young people, and unites our region. September 11th, 2001. The date embodies the nature of battles that tested our country's resolve. It is different, however, in that it changed a paradigm. No longer are our armed forces only fighting in foreign lands. They are here, defending our cities in partnership with first responders, forever changing how our nation defends its citizens. Here in southern Arizona, we have approximately 400,000 veterans, enlisted military, and first responders. These men and women play a critical role in the past and ongoing conflicts in America. Despite their sacrifices, these same individuals don't receive the recognition they deserve.
Hi, I'm Rich Carmona. I've had the great honor of serving my country as the 17th United States Surgeon General, as a U.S. Army Special Forces combat medic, a Pima County Deputy Sheriff and SWAT team leader, trauma surgeon, and EMS director for Southern Arizona. I've been a first responder most of my life. Several months ago, I learned about some great community leaders' vision for a living memorial, a place of solemn honor, reflection, and education that pays tribute to the brave people, fallen and living, who serve us. The Living Memorial will be on 2.5 acres of land allocated by the town of Oro Valley. I can't think of a more appropriate site. The Catalina Mountains providing the backdrop to a 24-foot obelisk on a 90-foot star base. Surrounding the star are 15-foot tall monuments that honor each Department of Defense service, plus other federal and community uniformed service first responders. This is a living memorial because it will be a place of honor, memorial, celebration, and education. The only place of its kind in the region, and one of a mere few across the nation that recognizes all the men and women who protect and serve.
Southern Arizona is home to tens of thousands of military men and women and first responders who ask little in return for their service. I support the Living Memorial because it's an opportunity for us to fulfill our responsibility to honor their sacrifices.
I'm proud of the investments my family and businesses have made in Southern Arizona. Our 70 years of hard work don't compare to the sacrifices of the 400,000 men and women. This project gives me a chance to honor them in a lasting way.
Businesses make Southern Arizona home for many reasons, including a sense of community. The personal sacrifices and long hours of our first responders and members of the military give us the opportunity to be that kind of community, generous and supportive. We should support this living memorial for them and for us.
Most people are not familiar with the huge scope of responsibilities and the passion that we in law enforcement have as we fulfill those responsibilities. This memorial will give us and our families a place for us to reflect on how we go about fulfilling those responsibilities.
This memorial symbolically unites all the individuals who have joined the fight to keep us safe. It is a privilege to serve my community and to do so alongside so many brave military and first responders.
The Southern Arizona Veterans and First Responders Living Memorial is an important addition to our region. It will educate visitors, especially young ones, on the important role that veterans and first responders play in keeping our country and our community safe and strong.
I am proud to be the honorary chairperson of this privately funded project. None of us who serve our country and community look for recognition. We join the fight because we are called to it. However, I recognize the importance of paying tribute to showing our appreciation for and educating the entire population on the valor of these men and women. I encourage you to join in supporting the Southern Arizona Veterans and First Responders Living Memorial.
Yes, never put two mics together. I'll stand over here. What really attracted me to this was a couple of things. First of all, I asked my wife Vicki who's involved, and when they said Bill Ossenmacher, I knew that the design and the construction of this thing were going to be exactly what they needed to be. And Bill's been amazing in his generosity of his time and resources to help us. It also attracted me because it's more than just a place of honor and reflection. That's important. Most memorials do that. But this is a place of action where school children will come to learn about the history they don't know. It's an opportunity for ceremonies, celebrations, or even memorial services. There's an amphitheater involved. It is going to be a place that makes the uniqueness of Southern Arizona special for so many of the first responders and military who are here. So I'm excited about it, and I'm going to ask the three members of the executive board to stand up. The chair of the board, Dick Eggerting, and Alan Dankworth, and my boss, Vicki Shootman. I'll tell you what, this group works hard and tirelessly to promote this. Bill, do you want to add any comments to this before I close?
Well, we've been working on this for about 4 years, and we'd like to get this thing constructed. We're about a third of the way there in raising the money. We need about $2 million of a construction budget. If you want to get engaged, you can see Rick Grinnell, myself, General Shootman, or anybody in the committee. But just because it's in Oro Valley, this really represents all of Southern Arizona. We have a lot of the rural communities are very excited about having this as a place to come to. So please get engaged if you can, and see us anytime, because we need your help.
Thank you, Bill. And also I want to thank Rick Grinnell. He made a great ad on the radio. Well done. I didn't know he had it in him, but he did a marvelous job. So you might pay attention to that when you hear it. And I just want to thank Bill and Rick for giving us an opportunity, and for all of you for considering this as a project to support. The group from the board will be back at their table outside as you exit if you want information or a pamphlet. Thanks for your attention.
Okay, before I keep forgetting things, first of all, Jim, where are you? Hurley? Jim Hurley from Red Diamond Media and also Pioneer Equipment has been doing videos for us for, 2 years now? And as we launch our new website, we're going to have a full page of videos available so we can go over the different videos that we've produced over the last 7 years. I'd also like to echo what General Shootman said about Bill Osselmacher. This man doesn't need to be as involved with everything as he is, but he gives in this community without asking for anything back in return. And so, Bill, thank you for everything you do for us. And real quick, Richard, come on up real quick. Richard is with the Arizona Athletic Department. Yes, it's summertime, but it's also time that they're boosting their ticket sales. And I know that Kevin Sumlin's over there saying, put some butts in the seats out here because we got a good young team that we're going to work with. So go for it, Richard.
Yes, thanks, Rick, for inviting us out here. Hi, everybody. So I'm sure some of you all saw us. I know we got to talk to a couple, but we have a table right out there. It's me and my boss, Steve. So we have plenty of information, whether it's season tickets or group tickets. So it's a great way to, get your company out for a company night, help, treat the employees and stuff, or even, some certain, customers and clients that you may have. So if you guys do have any interest, we have plenty, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, softball. We have plenty of information out there, so please stop by. I know we'd like to, meet all of you guys. Thanks.
Thanks, Richard. By the way, special congratulations to Adita Barnes in the women's basketball program, winners of the WNIT, and the last time they won it, Adita Barnes was a player. And I had lunch with her former coach, Joan Bonvicini. And I tell you what, you'd think she was trying to coach from the stands. I said, Joan, just be a fan, Anyway, all right, we're going to move on up to our next, let's see, that's and that. Okay. Everybody's familiar with Rosemont. Well, how many people remember when Wildcat Silver first started up? A little bit ago. And then we went to Arizona Mining. Well, now South 32 has come in with blazing, and they're ready to go to work and get some things done. New president, is that right, Pat? New president has come all the way from Australia, correct?
Not Australia.
Where'd you come from? Oklahoma. Hey, Lucero? Yeah, I need better information. Oh, I didn't recognize the accent from Oklahoma. That was the problem. Anyway, I'd like to give a warm Tucson welcome, and it literally is warm outside, but a warm Tucson welcome to the new president of South 32, Pat Reisner. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, and thanks for the opportunity just to come up and spend a few minutes introducing myself. Yes, I have arrived 9 days ago in Tucson from Melbourne, Australia, but hopefully from the accent you realize I'm not Australian. As indicated, I grew up, born and raised in Oklahoma. I've spent the last, just a little bit about myself, I've spent the last 27 years working for BHP, one of the other global mining companies that you're probably familiar with. I spent the bulk of that time actually working for BHP in New Mexico, just to the east of here. They used to have some coal assets up in the Four Corners part of New Mexico. So bulk of that time there, did two periods in Australia as well, in projects and operational roles. Originally from Oklahoma, as I said. Part of the attraction for us in coming back here, and this is what I want to convey to this audience, is first and foremost, I made this move leaving BHP after 27 years to come to South 32 really for 3 reasons. And the biggest one is how exciting this project is and the opportunity that we have in front of us to potentially develop something. We have a lot of work ahead, but I had a look at this, and it was something I really wanted to be a part of, and I really wanted to be here with the team and see where we can go with this. The second is South 32 itself. I know the community is still getting to know the company, but it's a company I know well and I think is really well suited to maximize this opportunity and see where it goes. It's a company that had strong values alignment with the way I like to do things, values being a part of the community, and so that was a big driver for me as well. And then lastly, this is about as close as it comes to us for getting back home, spending most of my career in New Mexico. We love the Southwest, so the opportunity to come put down some roots in Tucson was really attractive. My wife went to the University of Arizona for 2 years. She grew up in Las Cruces, east of here in southern New Mexico. And so this region we call home. So great opportunity. I'm on day 5, so I'm still learning. I'll come back and obviously provide a much more detailed project update in due course once I get my feet on the ground and get the lay of the land. But on day 5, it's a great opportunity to be here and meet all of you. It was important to me to start to get engaged and learn about the community and meet the community. We'll be here. We intend to set down roots. I've got 11-year-old twin boys who are here with me, and then a 21-year-old daughter at the University of New Mexico. So this is our home region, and we're just really, really pleased to be here. I do look forward to meeting all of you in due course. The work that all of you do and the support we get is going to be really critical. I will just point out, where did Spencer go? Okay. Spencer Cole was here, who does all of our procurement. If you have questions and specific questions around where the project's at and what opportunities might be there, please contact him. But thank you for giving me the opportunity just to introduce myself, and I do look forward to catching up with all of you and learning a bit more about what you do in due course. Thanks.
Well, okay. 12 years, 17 agencies, I don't know how many thousands of public comments, gray hairs, worries. When is this thing going to happen? I called Kathy Arnold on the HUD Bay team, but Kathy, I call her my personal professor, because when I first got into the mining industry as a promotions and helping navigate this crazy community, I was immediately indoctrinated to a new phase of homework. And homework and homework and homework. And as a result of her insistence and the team at the time, where's Fermin? I see you over here. Another one of my mentors here, but this project has come a long way. And I'm going to invite all the team from HUD Bay Minerals to come on up, because you're going to be on stage with Phil Donahue. All right, no Phil Donahue. Yep. Jerry, you coming up? No, it's going to be them. Okay. All right, so who do you want to open it? Their mics are right on the tables. I will. Mics are right on the tables, and then I'm going to leave it to you to, we're getting there. We ready?
While they're pulling that up, I want to say a couple of things. One, I want to tell Rick and Bill how much we appreciated their support going forward. This group started as a support group for Rosemont. It's morphed into so much more for the community, and it's something that I think we need to acknowledge. So I just did want to make sure that everyone who's here now who wasn't here then understands that. I see a lot of familiar faces in the room, though. So let's get started. You can go ahead and turn this slide. We've got a lot of cautionary information. If you're making decisions about your investments based on what you hear today, you're not as smart as I thought you all were. And you probably should talk to the professionals. There might be some in the room, but don't make any big decisions based on what you hear. But you will hear some things about where we are and where we're heading. So hope you enjoy it. Go ahead and turn the slides. There's like 2 pages of small print. It's the lawyers that make us do this. You wrote that? So some of you I met 12 years ago when we were first starting this process. And this just kind of lays out the comprehensive review process that we've gone through. South 32, take notes. You look forward to doing this. But I do think that I want to acknowledge everyone who was there then and people who have been here since and say thank you. We wouldn't have gotten through this stage without all of the help from all of you. All the comments were written by people in the community. We put a few in too, but for those of you who went over and above, that was really important. I see CTI Trucking in. They actually brought a busload of people down to explain trucking to the Forest Service. And it's all of those things that happened that helped us get through the phase. So you can see the stats and you can read as well as I do, but it was a monumental effort and it did take us a long time. You can go ahead and change the slide. We've spent a lot of money, but this lays out the timeline. Again, South 32, take note. It doesn't happen as fast as you think it's going to. We thought we would be done in 2010 based on averages and what we thought would happen when we started in 2006. Fact of the matter is there's always something. If it's not a jaguar, it's an ocelot. If it's not a butterfly, it's a special snail. If it's not that, it's somebody worrying about trucking. So again, it's important that everybody stay involved and understand how impactful you are to our process and realize what a difference you made for us. You can go ahead and change it. I also want to talk to you just a teeny bit about mitigation. Some of you may have read some of the stories coming out of the newspaper over the last few days. The county's been pretty critical of our mitigation plans, and there's been some things in the paper about how we're not doing sufficient work for mitigation. So I want to explain to you a little bit about what we're going to do in Patagonia area and kind of at least let you know what we're trying to do. What we've done is we've purchased a property down there. It's over 1,500 acres, but we're able to use that area to meet the Corps of Engineers requirements for mitigation, which means that it had to be at risk of development. This was a housing development. It had to have an opportunity to be improved. It actually has an old agriculture field. It has to have running water, or at least water that you can put in place to be a Waters of the United States mitigation. You can't just buy uplands. You actually have to have a way to connect to water. And this one had a bonus of actually having actual water on the site. So what you see is kind of a rendering of what we're planning to do down there. And it's actually it's the engineering kind of to scale. I think this is something that Westland did for us. But it shows the ag field that's there in dark green. The pink are the waters that we're going to fix. And we're going to change that to actually be more natural. If you'll change the slide, this actually is what it looks like now. You can see Sonoyta Creek is impinged on the highway, which is closest to the bottom of the slide. And the ag fields are to the far end. That's about 115 acres of ag fields that we're going to change. And if you want to see the next slide, this is kind of what we're going to do to fix it. So just wanted to let you know that we are doing things that are going to mitigate for the dry washes and Forest Service roads that we're going to impact by our project, and that it's a plan that we have we're really excited to implement. So flavor of what's coming. Now, when we talk about all of the comments and everything that's out there saying that we're not going to do anything, if you have any specific comments, talk to one of us, because quite frankly, I'm more than happy to answer the questions, and the more you know, the better off we all are. So that's kind of where my pitch is. If you want to change the slide. Matt Bingham, who came to work with us when HUD Bay took over, is actually going to give you the legal update. So,
thanks, Kathy. Before I start, I think we should actually give a round of applause for Kathy Arnold. Could you just go back to that timeline slide real quick? I'm not overstating this when I say the amount of determination it took to get through this is hard for most of us to imagine. It's really incredible. The good news is we're now pretty much done with the permitting. The bad news is pretty much every one of these milestones spins out litigation in court cases. Literally almost every one of our permits has been challenged in the courts. So I'm going to give you a very quick overview of the litigation that we're facing right now, and also a little bit of context about the litigation. I don't think most of you want to hear too much about legal issues and court proceedings, but I'm happy to take questions if you guys want. Okay, can you go to the legal slide? So these are the cases that we are actively defending right now. The Forest Service, when they issued their record of decision in summer of 2017, there have been 3 lawsuits filed against that. There are actually 7 different plaintiffs in those cases. The lead plaintiffs are Center for Biological Diversity, Save the Scenic Santa Ritas, and Sierra Club, and then there are 3 tribes that have joined in a 3rd lawsuit, the Tohono O'odham, the Pasquayaqui, and the Hopi. So those are the 7 plaintiffs involved. There are 2 federal agencies that are defendants, the Forest Service and the Fish and Wildlife Service, over the biological opinion that they issued for the project. And then obviously we've intervened as a defendant. So as you can imagine, this is a very complex piece of litigation. We actually had a hearing in this case yesterday. Did anyone see the article this morning on the Star about this hearing? Okay, so if you want to read about what happened at the hearing yesterday, there's an article on the Star about it. It's fairly accurate, but pretty brief. But the reality is this litigation is incredibly complex. It's been fully briefed now since February. The briefing, if I were to stack up the binders, it'd be about this tall, the briefs and the statements of fact that have been filed in the case. So it's a very complex case. We feel good about where it is. And we got a bit of good news yesterday. The judge told us that he's hoping to decide these cases by the end of August. So he's not bound by that, obviously, but we thought it was pretty good news. We're also hoping there will be oral arguments in the case, but the judge, again, yesterday, he said he's not sure he's going to have oral arguments, but if he does, we're happy to do that. So the next category of cases we have are over our 404 permit. As you saw on the slide, we just got the 404 permit in March, and there are already 2 lawsuits over that. They're in front of the same judge in Tucson, in Federal District Court, the Tucson Division. So all of these cases have been, well, the first 3 have been consolidated into one proceeding, and these second 2 have been consolidated. They're all in front of the same judge. But these cases are really just getting started. The records that the agencies used haven't even been submitted to the courts. So we're really just at the beginning of that case. And again, that was also part of the hearing we had yesterday. So that one's going to take quite a bit more time. Most likely there's going to be at some point there will be a request for a preliminary injunction in those cases that we will have to defend if we want to be able to go ahead with the construction schedule that we have planned. I should point out the important thing here, probably the key thing that most people in this room are wondering, is the litigation itself doesn't have any impact on our ability to start construction. We have the permits. Unless the judge issues an injunction or a stay or something else, then we are authorized to proceed. So we're in that stage right now where as soon as we get to the point we're ready to start, there will be that decision by the judge as to whether he wants us to hold off while he considers a case or whether we can proceed. But until that happens, the lawsuits pending or being appealed or still going on has no impact on our ability to start construction or to operate. The last lawsuit, it also just started this month, is an appeal of our renewed air permit. Our original air permit was received in 2013. That was appealed. We never actually obviously operated under the permit, but those permits are only good for 5 years. And so in 2018, we got a new air permit, and it was appealed by some of the same people, some of the same issues. We had just, only about a year and a half before we got the new air permit, we had just finished the litigation on the first air permit. So the one that was issued in 2013, we litigated that until about the summer of 2016. And within a year, we were preparing a new application to get a new air permit, and now we're starting the new case. So that one is in state court here in Pima County. We don't have any idea about timing, but usually those cases take about 12 months. So these are the 6 cases we have going on right now. I'll give a little context in the next slide. So since I got here in 2014, we've won 6 separate lawsuits. One of them was actually 2 different lawsuits that were combined. Like I said, literally every permit that we've received has been challenged, and so we're not surprised by the lawsuits. We knew they were coming. The ones we have going on now are of a different scale than the ones we've handled before, because the Forest Service review and the Fish and Wildlife review are obviously much broader, bigger approvals than some of these specific state permits. But it's not a surprise. We knew it was coming, and frankly, from my perspective, the sooner it gets started, the better, because we want to resolve these cases. We want to get some certainty so that that's not hanging out there as we're proceeding into major construction activities. And just like I said at the bottom, it's a normal part of natural resource development. Essentially, every major project that has any kind of controversy will be litigated in the courts, so it's nothing that we're too concerned about or we're surprised by. We always knew it was going to be there. So I guess we'll take questions at the end if you have them. I'm going to hand it over now to Alex Cannon, who is our project controls manager, and he's going to talk about the actual fun stuff, the project development and starting construction.
Thank you. I can echo the comments by Kathy and Matt. I joined the project in July of 2012 and was warned to be ready because we were going to be in construction in December. I just didn't ask which December that was going to be. So I'm excited to get started, and I'll give you kind of an update on the execution side of the project. If you could go to the next slide. So we do have funding to do some early works on the project, and what that consists of is things that focus on maintaining the critical path of the project and also things that will mitigate risk. So we're about 30% designed for the process plant. So we've got to pick that up. We're bringing our engineering partners here into Tucson to fill up our Tucson office and get going on the design with kind of a focus on the tailings, as well as anything else that could impact the critical path. We're also hoping in the next 6 months or so to have our technology providers selected so that we can get the vendor data required to support the detailed design. And we're going to be doing a whole lot of updating and planning. As you can imagine, that this is a huge project with a lot of moving parts, so we're getting all that put together. The field work side of it, on site, we're going to be doing some drill programs, both, geotechnical, geohydrology, and some infill drilling to confirm our pre-strip quantities. That kind of feeds into all of the planning that we have to do to kind of recheck and validate the estimates that we have. If you can go to the next slide. And we're also going to start the off-site infrastructure. Kind of the lifelines to our project are the power and water lines that are coming from 13 or 14 miles to the west. So we've got to get those in before we can do any kind of meaningful construction on the site. In fact, the entire schedule is constrained by getting that water line in, so we're certain we have sufficient water to support compaction, dust control, bulk earthworks, and pre-stripping. We're also going to be starting the State Route 83 improvements, which is a deceleration lane and acceleration lane into our site. And the exciting part too is we're hiring. So if you've seen our website, we are looking for people to fill the team. We kind of have a skeleton crew now, and I think that through the project phase, we will probably peak at around 200 project people. So we are excited to get going. Also, if you guys are vendors or contractors, I am kind of the stand-in contracts and procurement manager. I'm not a real one. I just play one on TV, but you can talk to me afterwards about how to do business with Rosemont and how to get you on our vendor database. Is there any others?
All right, anybody have any questions? Oh, go ahead.
So, like Alex was saying, if you want to contact us, rosemontcopper.com. There's these 3 buttons. If you're interested in seeing what jobs we're currently advertising for, you can click on the Work For Us button. It'll show you all the jobs. Also, we've started a renewed social media effort. So if you look at our Facebook page, Rosemont Copper Mine on Facebook, we're putting out quite a lot of material there, and there's a lot of discussion and a lot of good content there. So if you want to follow us on Facebook and just be up to date on the most recent announcements, pay attention to that Facebook page. All right.
You ready for some questions?
Yeah.
All right. Anybody have any questions? All right. Hang on a second. Let me get through. Actually, you do need a mic. We're recording. Thank you.
For vendors, is it still, you go on the website?
Yeah, that's correct. Go on to our website, to Rosemont Copper, and you'll see a link, Do Business With Us. Click on that and register your company. And the more complete you can make it, the better. This isn't going to pre-qualify you. This isn't going to get you in our accounting system. All this is a database that we will start from when we need a concrete installer. We will filter by concrete, and that'll be our list to start with going out for the packages.
Do they respond once you're on the list that you have it?
I don't think so, but if you ever have any questions, you can get a hold of me, and I can go in there and say, you forgot to fill this out, we need this, or we need that.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, Kathy's saying there should be an email that you get that said you're successfully registered, and I can go in and see if you're complete or not complete.
Okay, we got almost 200 people in this room in the mining industry. Nobody wants to work? Joke. Anybody got some other questions?
Just maybe a little insight on your infrastructure with the mine. Are you going to be producing all aggregates on site? Will you be bringing in aggregates from outside?
It's a good question. Of course, right now we have a plan, and the plan is subject to change. We didn't have enough data at the time of estimate to say, yes, we can produce all of our road base and concrete aggregates on site. So we have assumed we're going to be trucking it all in and having a batch plant to make our concrete. But we will be exploring certain areas on the site to see if we can produce it locally and hopefully save a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, question for you. On the legal cases, are you seeing a lot of support with amicus briefs?
So far, there hasn't been any, no.
And are you actively pursuing those?
We've considered it and we've talked about it. Currently, what we're planning to do is see what the initial district court opinion is. And it's much more common to file the amicus briefs on appeal, depending on what the initial decision is. So that's our current plan. We feel good about the litigation. We're expecting a good decision. If it's something surprising, then we would look at what other groups or industry associations would have an interest in that and would want to file an amicus brief on appeal. I mean, it's going to be appealed no matter what. So once we get on appeal, I think you'll see a lot more amicus briefs.
Larry?
Okay. Are you still using Asinco as your EPC out of Canada?
Yep, we're still using Asinco as our EPCM, and we've issued them a notice to proceed on the engineering and procurement services portion of the project. And so they will be moving into our Tucson office, and we'll be co-located with them, ourselves, and some of the key technology providers, which are like the FLSs and the Autotechs of the world.
And to work with them, we go through you?
Yeah, I can point you to the right contacts over there to work with them as well, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? Cole.
Could you educate us a little bit about your preliminary mine plan schedule, what type of tonnage you're expecting? Just I know you guys got a lot of work to do, but I'm sure you have a preliminary plan.
Yeah. So within the project, the $1.9 billion 36-month deal that is near and dear to my heart, there's about 105 million tons of pre-stripping that has to get done. And from a scheduling perspective, we have scheduled that to be done on the day that we start introducing ore into the mill. We call it rocks in the box. That's the point that a lot of the project costs stop being project costs and switch to being operating costs. And so that's when the mine becomes a mine and kind of phases out of the project. We'll still be building the second grinding line and the moly plant, but for all intents and purposes, we'll be operating the mill. On pre-stripping itself, we are buying a fleet of production equipment during this phase that we will commission and use to do a lot of the pre-stripping, but it will be starting with contractors and their smaller machines, because our stuff is the giant stuff. And there's about 2 years of that, so we figure about a year of contractor pre-strip and then a year of HUD Bay pre-strip, and then the plant starts up.
Good afternoon. I'm curious as to, you say you are looking for people for Rosemont, obviously looking for contractors, but for Rosemont specifically, what type of skills are you looking for initially?
Oh, I don't know if I'm qualified to answer this. I can answer from the project perspective. We are looking for seasoned project professionals that are experienced in building something of this size and scale. And so there's contracts people, procurement people, project controls people, project management people, area managers, and our EP partner will be doing the same. On the operations side, right, it's a greenfield project, so there's no staff aside from us and some others in the office. So I think the last time we did the estimate, it was including craft, it was near 700 positions that we would need to hire to operate and maintain the mine.
Yeah, and Michael, currently it's management level people to help with the design work and help review, and it's pretty specialized to start. Technical positions will open up though fairly quickly, and it will be everything from soup to nuts, basically everything from accounting and administration people all the way through really technical, like instrument control people. The thing to remember though is we've got 11 positions, I think it is, posted on our website, and some of those right now are like administrative, HR manager, accountants, and those kind of things. So if you know someone who's looking that would be qualified, especially in the natural resource industry, have them look. We're really interested in picking up highly qualified people with experience.
But I don't walk much either. Anybody else have any questions? Well, I'm going to comment a little bit. The other day we were at the Board of Supervisors meeting, and there were some literally outrageous comments made by actually all three of the majority of the board. It's really hard to hold your tongue when you hear people literally being just flat out lying, number one. They're disrespectful of the people in this industry, and they really have no idea. I don't think any of the elected officials across our local really understand what the 404 permit says, what the final record of decision permit says, what the EPA, the movement MPO, mining plan of operation approval. Most people have no idea what this is. And the one thing that, when we're out there talking to people, it's real hard not to want to just confront somebody, but I just got to tell you, we have to let them move on. You know, you're not going to change the minds of people who are insistently saying how bad this project is. But when you're out there, I would ask you to do two things. Number one, educate your family members and the people you work with, and so they have a better understanding of the things in this industry. Your neighbors, your family. It's amazing how many of my family members, they keep asking me, what do you do? Particularly my grandkids. What do you do, Papa? This is what I'm doing. So it's important that I educate them. I'm asking you to educate people. And number two is, if you run into a scenario where you just can't deal with the individual on the opposition side, just walk away. It's not worth putting ourselves and our integrity on the line, because at the end of the day, the facts will prevail. And this is why when Matt talks about feeling good about the law is the law is the law. You can change your opinion, but you can't change the law. This is what legislature is for. And this mine is on the way to success. So I would like to thank everybody. And Sydney Hay is going to come up here and tell us all about
Oh yeah, all about anything.
anything you
Just
want
learned
to know.
all about everything. I'm
Okay.
drinking it all in. Thank you so much for being here. And a big thank you. A big thank you to Hexagon Mining for hosting us today. Is this a wonderful facility or what? Thank you, thank you, thank you. And a big thank you to two legislative champions who joined us here today. And I would be remiss if not asking Representative Gail Griffin, please stand. Senator Leach, please stand. When I call Senator Leach and Representative Griffin champions, I mean it. That's not hyperbole. That's the truth. When we started this mining alliance, do you remember that, Rick? Al Melvin thought up the idea, Senator Al Melvin. These two champions have been with us ever since the beginning, and we are grateful for what you do for our industry. Thank you. This is my 25th anniversary this summer of being with Amigos. And the 25th anniversary is the silver anniversary. Well, for me, it's the copper anniversary, I'm just going to say. Because the first rally I organized for our Amigos members, board members are here, was in support of something called Rosemont Copper. We had bright green ball caps on. It was an Asarco property at the time, 25 years and counting. And so today is so exciting to be here. And it's just an exciting time to be in the mining industry. And lastly, I just want to make sure that we always, at Amigos events, and it takes a couple of minutes, it's going to take 10 minutes, but we always allow everybody to introduce themselves because it's the reason that we are here. It's the reason that these projects are going forward. It's because of the support of key people, key mining suppliers, key community leaders. It's the support of you is why we have come to this point so far. So we'll start up here, go fast, say your name loud and your company, and we'll go quickly. Right up here.
Michael Guyman with Tucson Metro Chamber. Rick and I were the only people that spoke in support of Rosemont Mine at the Board of Supervisors on Tuesday. We are here to support you.
Thank you, thank you. Come on. Quick, quick.
Dan Howard, formerly Strong Point, now with Midpoint, proud to support Rosemont.
Beth Borozon, Chief of Staff to Pima County Supervisor Steve Christie, who spoke eloquently in support of the...
And we thank you. We thank you.
John Albright, Chief 3 Strategies. I'm also the Executive Director of the Mining Foundation Southwest. I want to thank Hexagon for being one of our first sponsors of our annual mining banquet that's coming up December 7th, and Amigos board member.
Yes. Francisco, quick, quick, quick.
Terra Group International.
Yay, right here.
Nancy Heiser, Hood Bay Rosemont Copper.
Okay, we heard from you. Pass this around.
It's going to work. Yep. Ryan Hawes, Hexagon Mining.
Jerry Bustamante, Hud Bay Rosemont Copper.
Bill Osmacher, Cade Industries.
Melanie Lawson, South 32.
Jenny Fiore, South 32.
Derek Hansen, Hexagon Mining.
David Richardson, South 32.
Ryan Hole, South 32.
Alec Romanell, South 32.
Vaughn Marshall, South 32.
Bob Linsell, Granite Construction, home of the first Mining Alliance meeting, I believe, back when we started.
And continuing, we
Yes.
hope, right?
Brett Garcia, Hexagon Mining. Tim Bowler, Hexagon Mining.
Vicki Shootman, Veterans and First Responders Living Memorial.
Ron Shootman, I work for Vicki.
Dick Eggerding, I enjoy watching him working for her.
Fermin Zamorano, CTI Trucking.
Tom Jones, CTI Trucking and Amigos board member.
Leon Pont, Copper State Bolton Nut and Amigos board member.
Jeffrey Boer, Copper State.
Pat Wild, Motion Industries.
Brett Tanner, CTI Trucking and Amigos board member.
Robert Davidson, M3 Engineering.
Alberto Bennett, M3 Engineering.
Diane Mirando, Schneider Electric.
Steve Gosminski, Graybar Electric.
Jim Ridzanek, Sturgeon Electric.
Jesse Towle, Sturgeon Electric.
And Jason Lopez from Sturgeon Electric.
Oscar Diaz with CBIZ Benefits and Insurance.
I'm Thomas Bone with DVA Consulting and Staffing.
Justin Johnson from Symboticware.
Hi, Heidi Weibar with Hexagon Mining.
Denise here.
Denise Ernst with ISCO Industries.
Troy Ballard, Phantom Aerial Solutions.
Kyle Fritz, Meridian Engineering. We're a general contractor in most mines.
Sean Hamilton with Ryerson Steel.
Jim Schuler, Allied Fire Protection.
Larry Dykers, Tri-Minerals Operations.
Either way.
Les Diaz, Shelf Steel Company.
Shane Metzger with DBM Global and Shelf Steel.
Riley Layton with Bowman Consulting Group.
Bob Hayes with Bowman Consulting.
Fred Nakarati with Nino and More.
Rick Schmidt with JB Steel.
Oh, I missed one.
Bob Metz with Professional Minerals Development.
Mike Limo, Tucson Electric Power.
Dale Green, Empire Cat.
Skip Pause, TMI, Polymer Concrete.
Brian Wagoner, Command Industrial Technologies.
Mark Davis, Keto Pumps and Amigos board member.
Larry Bolton, Emerson Automation Solutions.
Sherry Hurley, Emerson.
Ah,
Chris Wilson, IEC Supply, and President of Mining Foundation of the Southwest.
Steve Stryker, Rockwell Automation.
Gene Waken, Ike Link, providers of EPCM services.
Kathy Pallas with Chemical Transportation and Environmental.
Keith Stanford, Arizona native, and this is my 51st year in mining here in Arizona, and I'm with Quadra Chemicals.
Blaine Wilson, Quadra Chemicals. Trace Larson, Brentag Pacific.
Dimitri Harris, Hexagon Mining. Rick Burgess, Switchgear Solutions. Marcelo Romero, Hexagon Mining.
Dan Leone, Triangle Industrial.
Michael Koretz, Commercial Real Estate Group of Tucson.
Jason Graybosch with Foothills Bank.
Dylan Nidecker with Turner Mining Group.
Matt Sanchez, Turner Mining Group.
Marcos Tovar for Fibrocan.
Ray Valenzuela with OVG Mining Solutions.
Jim Horn with Border Construction Specialties.
Gary Weber, Redburn Tire.
Sally Lyons, Air Products and Chemicals.
Aaron Maurer with Lane, we're a division of Granite Construction.
Paul McAlpine with Lane Christensen, Granite Company.
Garrett Kowaleski with Staff Matters Recruiting.
Brian Iannello with TriStar Industrial.
Rich Clapp, TriStar Industrial.
Tony Bingham, TriStar Industrial.
Tony Bajani, Revolution Industrial.
David Patcher, Products.
Dot O'Neill, Rummel Construction.
Jill Armstrong from the Viscount Suite Hotel.
Larry Caesar from the Viscount Suite Hotel.
Dave Buckley with Phoenix Industrial Inc.
Dave McElvain with Cal Portland Cement.
Cheyenne with Crest Insurance, your local full-service agency.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Carrie Lauer, Viscount Suite Hotel.
Jessica Milnes with Restructuring Corporation, specialist in structural repair.
Kevin Somerville with Busing Corporation, Mass Excavation Grading.
Stephen Espinoza with Air Gas Mining and Construction.
Alan Dankworth, Veterans and First Responders Living Memorial, which we hope you'll support.
Jim Tress, Westland Resources.
I'm Pat McGarity with Westland Resources.
Cole Cashin, mining engineer student at the University of Arizona.
Chad Julius, mining engineer student at the University of Arizona.
Curtis Miles with Westland Resources.
Paul Tilley with Deacon Cindy McDonald.
Hi, I'm Amanda Best with Westland Resources.
Scott Hart, Westland Resources.
Chris Reif, Westland Resources.
Fred Huntington, Westland Resources.
David Blanchett with NEI Horizon Commercial Real Estate Services.
Terry Baughman, Industrial Automation. James Delcor, Marco Crane.
Eric Barkheimer with Arnold Machinery.
Randy Eck, Stantec Consulting.
Ed Greer with Epiroc.
Kevin House, Epiroc.
Eddie Hernandez, Crescent Electric.
Tara Gillard, Skyline Labs.
Nancy Gongor, Skyline Labs.
Teresa McKenzie with the Tucson Marriott University Park Hotel.
And that's it. We did it.
You move faster than I do.
There you go.
Well, actually, we got out of here a little bit earlier than I thought we would. But before we go, Josh, would you like to come up and say hello to your guests, please? Josh Weiss, president of Hexagon Mining here in Tucson.
Yep, sorry I was running a little late, so I missed the intro there, but it was great just listening to the conversations there from the back, because the one thing that came to mind was the sense of community. I heard that used a couple times. And just to tell a quick story, about 5 years ago, we had the opportunity to search for our global headquarters on a worldwide basis, and we chose Tucson for various reasons, but in part because of that sense of community there. And so the mines obviously do create a huge effect in terms of the entire community, the suppliers, the technology providers, the consultants, you name it. And there's real power in that as well. So just to showcase that power, earlier this week, we acquired another local Tucson-based company called Split Engineering, and it's our 5th local Tucson company we've acquired now in the past 7 years. So there's real power with that sense of community, and we feel proud to be part of that community, and hopefully we can all get to support each other to make this successful. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Our IT specialists, all of our guests, Heidi, Laura, Tracy, who am I missing that helped to put all this together? You know, and also, by the way, they're gonna, I think Tracy mentioned they'll have some exhibits over here for people. Your parking pass is good for up to 5 hours. If you parked in the Presidio garage, if you parked across the street, it's good all day. Just most of all, I want to say thank you for everybody coming out. I know it's a holiday for a lot of people. And I know some people are leaving here and going to the golf course. And your name should be anonymous. Hey, Francisco. Anyway, thank you for everybody very much. Thanks for being here. We'll see you in June. Thanks.